Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Two Noble Kinsmen and we've made it to Act 5. Huzzah! We get to hear from Arcite today in Act 5, Scene 1. So there's still a lot that needs to happen in this play because remember, Palamon and Arcite still need to have this battle and we don't know what's going on with the jailer's daughter, and the wooer is going to pretend to be Palamon to try to knock her back to her senses, all of that sort of fun stuff. But today we're in like the pregame right before this whole fight scene happened. So Palamon and Arcite have returned with their knights who are going to fight alongside them. So at the beginning of this scene, we have all of them come in along with Theseus and Hippolyta and Pirithous and Amelia and that whole train. And Theseus is like, okay, everybody, now that you're here, come on in. We're going to do this whole thing. But before we start fighting, go and make your sacrifices to the gods, so that this whole thing can be, right and proper and all that sort of thing. It's almost like a trial by combat thing is what they're asking for. So each of them is going to go to the altar of the god of their choice and ask that god to bless them so that they win. So kind of trial by combat-ish, thinking that whichever god shows the greatest favor on its person will allow that person to win. But anyway, Theseus is like, go make your sacrifices. Pirithous is like, may the best man win. Those whole trains leave, so we just have Palamon and Arcite and their guys there, and they come to each other for just a moment and are sort of like, well, I guess it's time that we actually gotta, do this. And, I'm sort of squashing that part of my heart that actually still likes you and is trying to replace it with feelings of hatred for you. And Palamon's like, before we go, can I give you a hug? And they hug each other, and then they part ways, and Palamon and his train are leaving. Arcite and his train are coming in front of the altar of the god Mars, who is the god of war. But as Palamon is exiting, Arcite says the first line of his monologue, and then Palamon and his whole train is gone. So Arcite says, farewell, sir. Knights, kinsmen, lovers, yea, my sacrifices, true worshippers of Mars, whose spirit in you expels the seeds of fear and the apprehension, which still is farther off it, go with me before the god of our profession. There require of him the hearts of lions and the breath of tigers, yea, the fierceness too, yea, the speed also to go on. Else wish we to be snails? You know my prize must be dragged out of blood. Force and great feet must put my garland on where she sticks the queen of flowers. Our intercession then must be to him that makes the camp a cistern burned with the blood of men. Give me your aid and bend your spirits towards him. Thou mighty one, that with thy power has turned green Neptune into purple, comets pre-worn, whose havoc in vast field unearthed skulls proclaim, whose breath blows down with hand omnipotent from forth blue clouds the masoned turrets that both makest and breakst the stony girths of cities. Me, thy pupil, youngest follower of thy drum, instruct this day with military skill, that to thy laud I may advance my streamer, and by thee be stilled the lord of the day. Give me, great Mars, some token of thy pleasure. And then there's a really loud noise and a crash of thunder and like clanging of armor. O great corrector of enormous times, shaker of o'er-ranked states, thou grand decider of dusty and old titles, that healst with blood the earth when it is sick, and cursed the world of the pleurisy of people, I do take thy signs auspiciously, and in thy name to my design march boldly. Let us go. And then he and his train leave. So, a bit to unpack. He says goodbye to Arcite, or he says goodbye to Palamon. This is Arcite talking. And then he says to all of his team, and he's maybe a little bit unsure with the whole yay, and also ask for this, and also ask for this, and also ask for this thing. He's like, okay, all of you who are warlike and soldier-like, we're going to go pray to the god of Mars for strength and speed and agility and fierceness and strength and all that sort of thing. He's like, you know that this is the only way that I'm going to win this is by blood. So we need to pray to the god of Mars that he helps me win this. So they all go and they kneel in front of the altar of Mars, where Arcite, gives due respect to the god and says, you who rain down on all of us and who, make sure that the world is populated with the right number of people, please give me strength and give me some sort of sign that you have my back, that you will support me in this and that you will help me win. And then there's this like clanging of armor and a clap of thunder, which Arcite takes to mean Mars is giving his blessing. So he's like, oh, sweet, this is great. Thank you. You're awesome. This is great. And I'm going to go into battle now, like, boldly and surely, and I know that I'm going to win. So he feels really good about himself and his position after praying to the god of Mars. And he and his train leave the stage, but then Palamon and his group come in, and they go to the altar of Venus, the goddess of love, and Palamon's going to have some things to say to his troops and to Venus in tomorrow's monologue. So we will see you then for that. Mwah.